Retro Blood.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Retro Blood. As we start off a brand new month here in the month of May, we're getting closer to the summertime. There's some places out there that might still have a little nice cool breeze out there at nighttime, but we are going deep into the summertime hot months. And of course, this month season is also yours truly's birthday month, which would be mine, James Kline, on here. And I have decided to do some 1980s Blood month, because we are doing movies from the 1980s, all with the Blood title right in front of them, which there's actually a shit ton of them, but I have come up with at least 4 of them that I think everybody will like. Up first is our second fan request movie that we've done on here. Hoping to get some more here in the future. Actually, we got some more. We just haven't found the themes of them yet. There's a couple killer object months that were requested by the fan base of the Retro Blood. We will get to those soon. But this one right here is going to be a fan requested movie, because the first one of James Kline's Blood Month is going to be, if y'all like sand doomed creatures from Star Wars or Doom, if y'all like John Saxon being a angry cop without a shirt on.
We love John Saxon.
We all love John Saxon. We all love him. He didn't have his shirt off, so I was kind of disappointed, but he's still there, being the boss. If y'all like a guy named Harry, who had a hot British girlfriend, but he wanted to go with that local town girl, Kat. If y'all like missing people in the sand, then this is the review for you, because the Retro Blood is talking all about Blood Beach. J.S. Alison.
Blood Beach, yeah.
James Kline, what's happening, Alison? How's your trip to the California area on the Blood Beach? How is that going for you?
I actually like this movie a lot. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty fun.
I'd never seen it before.
Yeah.
Never seen it before. This is a really good movie to be recommended, because I've never watched this movie otherwise. So I'm glad it was recommended. I really enjoyed this.
So there are a couple things I when started off watching this movie, all right, which I thought was pretty funny. Okay. So the first thing I want to get to is I want to give a shout out to Todd Brown. Thank you, Todd Brown, for recommending Blood Beach. Like I said, if you all want to recommend movies for us to review, talk about, it doesn't even have to be in the 80s. We can always do Lights Out, where we can talk about those movies as well too. Just send us an email to retroblood69@gmail.com. That's what Todd over here did. I guess he just thought this would be a fun movie for us to watch, probably because of our hard-on of John Saxon. Because we've done a lot of John Saxon movies before. We actually did one the month before last, where we did what's it called? Beyond Evil.
Yes.
All right.
It's more than evil, it's beyond evil.
It's more than evil, it's the beyond one. So the two things that I noticed about this movie right away is, oh shit, they got that guy from Rocky here.
Yeah, Burt Young.
Yeah, I was like, it seemed like he, okay, sometimes when you get like a guest star in these horror movies, it's like, okay, how much was the payday for this guy? It's kind of like an old wrestler. What's the house look like? What's my payday?
Right.
And I'll just show up and do basically nothing. All right, that's what he reminded me of.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And then the second thing was, obviously we had John Saxon, which was a big name at this time too, and he kind of did similar, but he was just some angry cop. I don't think I've ever seen him as an angry cop before. I liked it.
Well, so actually, I was thinking that he could have basically been playing the same character he played in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, it's true.
This was just
Very
before.
similar.
Like he was an angry cop then, but he calmed down in time for Nightmare on Elm Street stuff to happen.
Technically, this could have been the same universe.
That's what I'm saying. He could be the same person.
Exactly. So that makes sense. But yeah, other than that, I liked it though. I thought this movie was pretty fun. Now, Alison, were you thinking too, like the creature? I mean, they were saying it was supposed to be like a Venus flytrap type of looking thing, but I thought it was that sand creature from Star Wars and Dune.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like from Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a smaller one.
It's a smaller one, yeah. But then also Dune. Remember on Dune, they had those sand riding creatures and shit?
The sandworms. Yeah,
Yeah, the sandworms.
Yeah, these are like miniature versions of that. So yeah, could be the same thing. Could be in the same universe as Dune.
Exactly.
So what if we had John Saxon and Burt Young in Dune?
Oh, that would have been awesome, bro.
Like Dune 3, they could both be in that, even though both of them are dead, but still.
Yeah. I don't know if having John Saxon in those type of movies, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think I would have came out of that theater unscathed. I'd have been my man radar would have been raging.
Mm-hmm.
Because John Saxon is the last real man in horror.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Don't forget about Atkins.
Well, it's true. Tom, he's a different kind of real man. You know what I mean? He's Tom Atkins is more like the lady killer. You know what I mean? Like he's more like the he gets more of like the pussy. You know what I mean?
Right.
But our boy John Saxon, he's like an all-American male. You know what I mean, brother?
Yeah.
He doesn't need to get the pussy. He gets everything. Okay.
He gets everything. He's just straight killer.
He's just straight killer. So.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this should be a fun month. And then at the end of this episode, I'll give you all the rest of the 3 for the month over here. So it should be pretty fun. But let's get into what we always get into every Retro Blood. Let's get into what is going on in the world of the pro wrestling and the metal music around the release date of this film, which is going to be, let me pull up my notes here, January 23rd, 1981. So we're in early 1980s, like we always are. We've been there for a long time. Like, I felt like every show last month was all in the fucking early 1980s. And now I'm like, okay, we're finally going to get out of the early 1980s. And what do? The first movie, we're back in 1981.
1981. Well, yeah, so because I picked all the movies from last month, and only one of them was not in 80, 81, or 82.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is my favorite time period. I mentioned this last month. This is my favorite time period for 80s horror. 80, 81, 82, into a little bit into 83 was when horror movies were absolutely at their best, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I would say so. I mean, it definitely has so this one, filming style was very interesting. I did like the old, like, noir style music they chose. You know what I mean?
I thought the soundtrack was great. Yeah.
Like, it had that jazz music where it's kind of like they use the jazz music for like good placement of like the scenes. You know what I mean? Like you'll have like the harder jazz for like the killers when the monsters grabbing the bodies down.
Yeah.
You'll have like the love making jazz music, which is my favorite. All right. You'll have the dinner making jazz music, and you'll have the club jazz music. So we have all different style of jazz music on here. Mm-hmm. Very interesting.
That's because it was done by Gil Melee, who was a pretty famous jazz musician.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we'll talk about some more of that. But it's pretty. They also like the cut and everything with the soundtrack and everything was really, really good for this style of film. But I got a little bit on wrestling, not too much over here. The biggest thing I have that I can find, which kind of relates to nowadays, which is kind of cool, is on January 23rd of 1981, we have in St. Louis.
Woo!
All right, which we're going to be in 2025 in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, in about 2 weeks. I'm going to be, I'll be.
Well, we won't be there, but we're watching TV.
I will be, actually.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You will be, yeah.
I will be in St. Louis for Backlash.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I will be in the Canadas. I'm still trying to find the hidden mansion.
Yeah, keep looking for that so we can move into it. The haunted hidden mansion with little kid ghosts in it.
Yeah, with kid ghosts. Trying to find that one. All right, it's gonna be there. So we have the only thing I can find. And this is not a fantastic card, but it's something. We have Steve O, not that one. We have the 1980s Steve O. Mm-hmm. Regains the NWA National TV title from Bobby Eaton all right, in Atlanta. Have the St. Louis card that happened on this day at the Kiel Auditorium.
I was gonna say, was it at the Kiel?
Yes. 11,000 fans got to see Terry Taylor battle Bulldog Brown to a draw.
Ooh,
and they got to see Mike and Pat Kelly defeated Butch Reed and Jerry Roberts.
So the Red Rooster himself was there.
Yep. There you go, brother. And of course, this year of 2025, we will see the only match so far, all right, unless there's more after this, is John Cena versus Randy Orton. So
that'll be a classic.
That probably might draw a little bit more, I would say.
Yeah, maybe. I would imagine so. The ticket price is certainly higher, I bet.
Well, we did have the so that wasn't like the major matches, but basically they actually had some pretty good ones on here. We also had Kevin Von Erich defeated Big John Studd by disqualification. All right, and then we also had André the Giant. That's probably why we got 11,000 fans on there, because of André the Giant. Him and Bruiser Brody defeated Dick Murdoch and Ric Flair.
Whoa, that'd be cool.
So imagine that. That'd be a crazy fucking match. You know what I mean? André the Giant and Bruiser Brody, what a fucking team that would have been.
That would have been awesome.
You think they would have? They would have beat that Dune creature, no problem.
No problem at all.
Yeah.
I'm assuming they won that match.
Yeah, they won it. Yeah.
Wow, Bruiser Brody and André on the same side. Like, why wouldn't they switch those to make that more even?
I don't know.
So wait a minute, with André and Bruiser Brody versus Ric Flair and who?
Dick Murdoch.
And Dick Murdoch.
Yeah.
So what if you had like Dick Murdoch and Bruiser on one side and André and Flair on the other? That would have made more sense. Instead of having like a giant and a madman on one side and then Ric Flair and Dick Murdoch on the other.
You gotta put the butts in the seat somehow, man.
I mean, you have like
all right,
a giant and a madman versus Ric Flair and Captain Redneck.
Yeah.
Basically. So, yeah.
Early 1983, you know what I mean? You could do some wild stuff like that.
Damn. I'm just thinking about that. I wish that was, I bet that was a non-televised show, right? That was like a house show. Or just a live show.
It doesn't say it here. But, you might be able to find it out there. I'm not sure what promotion this was for either. But it's definitely a pretty fun one. It also says André the Giant and Butch Reed won a battle royal too.
On the same night?
On the same night, yeah.
Wow, okay.
So, very interesting stuff here. Let me see. Yeah, because this is yeah, that'd be fun if we could find this. I haven't found this yet, but this is basically just the results that were these are the results that were published in the Pro Wrestling Illustrated around this time.
Okay.
So very cool stuff over here. But yeah, I mean, that would be a very interesting thing. Maybe we could look it up on the intranet and stuff, if there's any video of a André the Giant and Bruiser Brody team, because that would be a fucking, that team seemed like they would just conquer everything.
Yeah, that would be amazing. I would love to see that. Versus Ric Flair and Dick Murdoch.
Exactly. But Alison, I know we don't have too much for the metal because we pretty much destroyed 1981 so far. We might have to think about another subject. I know people have been waiting us to do that for a while. When it comes to certain years where we talked about everything, we might just use a different subject. Maybe what was happening, video games. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out because we've done 81 to death.
Yeah, to death. So, but you could talk about the thing I found. I thought that was kind of interesting. Some pop. Yeah. Some pop stuff.
So, well, yeah. I mean, this is significant. We talk about it. So, January 23rd, 1981 was the day that Joan Jett's solo debut album was re-released.
Yeah.
So it was recorded in like 1979 after she left the Runaways, and it was actually recorded before she formed her band the Blackhearts, which is what's credited on this album, although most of them didn't play on it. Like some of the guys from the Sex Pistols played on it, and some of the people from Blondie played on it, so it had a kind of an all-star group. But she recorded this in 1979 and released it in May of 1980 originally. on an independent label, and then she got signed to a major label, which was Boardwalk Records, which was, I mean, they were a subsidiary of a major label. But she got signed to Boardwalk, and then they re-released this album on January 23rd, 1981. It's really mostly pop, I guess famous for having the single Bad Reputation, which was like one of her bigger songs. She still does it live, and we probably know it as wrestling fans as being Ronda Rousey's theme song, her entrance theme.
That's the only thing I know about it.
Yeah, exactly. And this album had a whole lot of covers on it. So she didn't write a bunch of songs for this album yet. She would get a lot more famous with her next album, which has the I Love Rock and Roll song on it, which I'm sure you've heard.
Yeah.
That's probably one of her more famous songs. But she would get a lot more famous when that album came out. But this is kind of like, the beginning of the Joan Jett phenomenon, if you will, or with her getting famous outside of the Runaways. And the other Runaways would get famous later on in the 80s too. Some of them would. Lita Ford was in the Runaways, and she would get pretty popular by mid to late 80s. But yeah, so that's one of I don't have a lot to say about this, as like I said, we've done this to death, but I did want to talk about Joan Jett a little bit and talk about the importance of this re-release of her debut album.
Because wasn't it at the time this movie came out, I believe it was like the top song on the radio around this time too.
Yeah, it was a huge hit. So like it was well, huge is she had finally become more popular than the band she had left.
Yeah.
So yeah, she had become more popular than Runaways were when they were together. So yeah, this was like a big deal for her because this was like her showing that her old band that she could actually make it on her own, and she did. She's probably the most famous person that's in the Runaways today, I would imagine.
Oh yeah,
like you know what I mean? Anybody from the Runaways that anybody would know would be Joan Jett, I would imagine.
Yeah. So pretty fun stuff. Do you think our boy Harry was a big Bad Reputation?
No, I bet he was listening to this on repeat in his car.
You know what I mean? When he's sunbathing, tanning.
I can tell by his hair.
Yeah, exactly.
That he listens to this song a lot.
What about the Boogie guy?
Maybe.
You know what I mean? I don't know if I caught his name. I gotta, because like they didn't really say his name, but in my notes I called him like it was the guy. He was like the guy who got he got sunk into the sand when he was trying to like convince the homeless lady to come out of the little shelter thing she was in. And all I got from his character was that he liked the boogie.
Yeah.
All right. So
yeah. But anyway, Joan Jett, Bad Reputation.
But that's pretty cool. Yeah, definitely. Pretty cool stuff. I don't know too much about the Joan Jett stuff, but I do know the song and the rock and roll one. And it was pretty cool that Ronda Rousey used the song because it did fit her character and her personality for the wrestling ring. So I thought it was kind of cool stuff that song actually got going over here around the time that this movie got going. Because I don't think this movie didn't really have a bad reputation. I think it might have had a good one.
No, this movie should have a good reputation. I really like this movie a lot.
Yeah. So that's a little bit of history we got going on for the for this Blood Beach stuff. But let's get into the meats of everything, brother. All right. Let's get into who booked this shit. All right.
Yeah.
So it was directed by Jeffrey Bloom. Do you know anything about him?
Not really. I mean, he made a movie called Nightmares. That's the only thing I really know about Jeffrey Bloom.
You didn't see Flowers in the Attic?
Oh, did he direct that?
Yeah.
Then yeah, I've seen that. I don't really care for that movie, but yeah, I did see that.
Dog Pound Shuffle?
I have no idea what that is. Nightmares is an anthology horror film that we'll probably do on this show at one point. It came out in 1983 or 2, I believe. It's a good, pretty good little film.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like he did Nightmares apparently after he did this film. Very cool. So, of course, this movie has John Saxon on it. And we love John Saxon, especially when he has his shirt off. He's a man's man. Like I said, his character, basically he was the chief police officer, Captain Pearson, and all his character was just bitching about the taxpayers not paying up for the police force. So I liked it. All right.
Right. because they don't have enough money to investigate sand creatures.
Exactly. And of course, we have Burt Young. Of course, he was in Rocky fame. Mm-hmm. He played the Sergeant Roku, who basically was, I called him Chicago, because he would just talk about Chicago every line. Oh, we did this in Chicago. We did that in Chicago.
All right, which is really strange because Burt Young is from Queens and he sounds exactly like he's from Queens.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. I was like, because at the beginning when I saw them, I was like, oh shit, it's the guy from Rocky. And then everybody starts, we're in California, right? And everybody sounds like they were from New York. I was like, what's going on here? All right.
I mean, I have not seen a lot of Burt Young movies. I've notably seen Rocky, obviously, and this movie. And he could have literally been playing the same character. Like, I'm pretty sure Burt Young just plays himself in pretty much every movie that he's in.
All right, so we got some... we also had David Huffman, who played Harry. And apparently there's some sort of, like, murder thing with him.
Oh, really? Did he murdered somebody?
Well, let's read this, because I haven't heard about this until now. So on the morning of February 27, 1985, so about 2 years after this movie, 16-year-old Gennaro Villanueva was taken into San Diego police custody after attempting to steal radio from a car near his home. Released into the custody of his high school vice principal, I'm going to screw up this name, Villanueva, left school and went to Bellow Park. Then he was spotted by Canadian tourist Jack Burner, prowling around inside the motorhome of Burner's friends. After Burner accused him, Vanilla fled the scene. So Hoffman was cast in the play of Mice and Men at the Old Globe Theater and was set to begin working on the television miniseries North and South the following week. So he visited the theater shortly before noon to share cookies with the cast and crew, and was sitting in his van near the theater playing his bagpipes when he saw... What? Yes.
Hold up. Okay, hold up.
Yeah, bagpipes, brother.
I do not believe this story anymore.
What? You don't play bagpipes near a fucking... while you're waiting for some people some cookies? All right? This is what it says, man. All right?
There's no way this... Okay. Let's recap what we had. Yeah. So this kid breaks into a motorhome.
Yeah.
This Canadian tourist beats him up.
Confronted him, yeah.
Hoffman just happened to be visiting a theater to deliver cookies and was sitting in his car playing bagpipes.
Well, he got cast in this theater stuff, so he's just sitting around waiting for the people to come over here playing his bagpipes.
All right, fine.
But he witnessed all this go down. Okay?
While playing his bagpipes.
While playing his bagpipes, brother. Man, imagine that. Imagine that fight scene, brother. That'd be crazy. All right, so he saw Burner confront Villeneuve. He gave chase in his vehicle, parking the van near the Spectacles Pavilion, and followed Villeneuve into the park. When he caught up with Villeneuve, the two became involved in a physical altercation. Okay. During which Villeneuve stabbed Hoffman twice in the chest with a screwdriver.
Okay.
Hoffman died of exhaustion, likely within 30 to 45 seconds. His body was found less than an hour later in Palm Canyon crevice by a group of children. I thought it was not positively identified until later that night. So
he died like 2 years after this.
Yeah, he died 2 years after this movie. All right, yeah. So basically, he got killed for being a good citizen. All right. And I mean, that's crazy. Like 2 years after he made this movie, he's got cast in all these plays and stuff he's about to be doing. He just so happened to be at the scene where this is going down, where this guy was robbing, taking some radios, and he decided to be, a good citizen, stop this guy, and he gets killed for it. It's crazy. So it says also too, on March 2nd and 3rd, Crime Stoppers produced a reenactment of the crime that was shown on San Diego television and was published in several national newspapers. The Canadian tourist whose motorhome was burglarized saw Hoffman's photo and death announcement in the newspaper and called the police. Villanello was arrested on March 12th after a police officer recognized Villanello from a composed sketch given to the police by the Canadian tourist. On June 24th, 1986, Villanello was sentenced to 26 years to life in prison and admitted to California State Prison. On December 9th, 2011, he was denied parole for 15 years. So, pretty crazy.
Yeah, and he had been cast in North and the South, but he didn't actually get to do that TV series.
No, because he got killed, basically just waiting around playing his bagpipes, and he saw this kid rob this Canadian tourist. He's trying to be a good citizen, and he gets killed for it. So, fucking crazy story. I mean, fuck, pretty crazy, man. But yeah, looks like his last known film wasn't Blood Beach, but it was Last Plane Out. He did that one, and then of course his last film, television show, was Children in the Crossfire. So pretty crazy stuff, man. Obviously that story is horrible. Trying to be a good citizen and everything, but man, just be careful out there. But yeah, that's horrible. That's pretty crazy. I did not expect that to happen. I just thought that. Yeah. Checking out this movie, I thought it was pretty crazy. Some of these stories with the cast and everything. So a couple other things that are less disturbing than that story we just gave everybody. Jeffrey Bloom, the director and producer, he talked to producer Steven Nilowitsky. They first got the central idea and creature that hides in the sand as a heavily traveled beach in May of 1979. Now, Alison, to me, they got this movie ripped off from Jaws and Star Wars.
Yes. Well, I can see how you're saying the Star Wars thing.
Yes.
Even though Return of the Jedi wasn't out yet, so.
Well, what about Dune? Maybe I should say Dune instead.
The book for Dune was out.
The book is out, brother. All right.
Yeah, they got it from the book. No, this was definitely influenced by.
So you're
Jaws.
telling me Star Wars copied this film then?
Sure. That's what I'm saying. George Lucas ripped off Blood Beach.
Holy shit! Just imagine that.
But I mean, you could tell just by the tagline of the movie, which is just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, you can't get to it.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious, but that's definitely Jaws influence.
Well, also around this particular time, in late 1970s, early 1980s, there was a big push for water creature horror movies.
Yes.
We had Jaws 1, Jaws 2, Jaws 3. What do they call them? The P. God. God. Piranha. Yeah, we had those Piranha movies. We had the alligator movies. And all kinds of shit.
We had Orca. We had Tentacles. We had there's a bunch of them. Yeah, a bunch of these water monster movies, which was kind of cool. Jaws really influenced a lot of people.
They did
for a lot of things. Maybe we'll do Jaws one day.
Maybe
on the Lights Out.
That might be coming in the near distant future.
It might be coming. One thing I was surprised to see when I started the credits for this movie, because I literally knew nothing about this movie when I turned it on, was seeing Run Run Shaw's name in the credits as a producer.
Yeah.
So Run Run Shaw is the youngest of the Shaw brothers, and they started the Shaw Brothers Studios, which made probably the most famous Hong Kong kung fu movies from the 50s, 60s, 70s. And he's really, really famous for that. I couldn't really find any information about what he contributed to this other than he is listed as a producer on it.
Maybe he just put money to it. There you go.
Maybe he probably just contributed money to it. He did a lot of charitable stuff, but mostly in China. But yeah, who knows? Maybe he just contributed money to this movie, because this movie had. I didn't find out what the budget was for this movie.
Yeah.
But it must have been decently sized to have John Saxon and Burt Young and that kind of and the decent special effects that were in it. Like some of the stuff, I'm not even sure how they did. It's pretty amazing.
My source, my notes and stuff. The box office had $2 million, But it didn't
$2
say
million what it made. Yeah.
that would have made it, but it didn't say how much it was made yet, or how much it took to make it.
Right.
So a couple other things too. So 2 months after the initial idea and having written a synthesis, Bloom and Avicii were able to secure financing from Sidney Berkman.
Mm-hmm.
All right, which allowed production to come together quite quickly, with the principal photography happening in October of 1979. So obviously they filmed in Venice and Santa Monica, California, over the course of 28 days, 2 days earlier than scheduled. The creatures were designed by Dale Ruman.
Mm-hmm.
So he's the mastermind behind the creature's look. Maybe he's a big Dune fan. There you go.
Maybe. I mean, we could really barely see these creatures, but yeah.
Yeah.
They were
well,
really
at the end we did. We saw the full thing.
At the end we kind of did, yeah. Well, that's true, I guess. Yeah.
Two versions of the film was produced tailored for different markets. Imagine that. The first version left the origin of the creatures up in the air and was designed for Western audiences, while the second version, made for audiences in Asia, included a sequence of spaceship landing on a beach and dropping the creature in the sand.
Yeah, I kind of would want to see that version, where the spaceship. I mean, do they in the movie we saw? Unless I missed it, they never told us they were aliens, right?
No. Well, okay, hold on. You had that doctor dude. All right.
Yeah. Right.
Dr. Demetrius.
Yes.
Who was like the typical like science doctor dude? He's all like, I'll do more reenactment in the review, but he's all like, yes, we don't know these creatures. If we blow them up, we don't know what these creatures, if the ashes are going to become different beings in this world to be. Yes. So
that's exactly what it sounded like.
I wonder if he was in the Asian version. It's like, nah.
I'm sure
the Asians, they don't want to hear about some weird doctor talking some jumbo munjo. All right, they want to see the spacecraft land and drop off the fucking thing. All right. Yeah, I don't even know where to find. Maybe if there's like a Blu-ray out there, they might have an alternate ending or something. I have no idea. All right.
No, it's an alternate beginning, isn't it?
Oh yeah, alternate beginning. Yes.
Yeah.
It says the film was released in the U.S. on VHS by Medium Home Entertainment. As of 2012, the film had only been officially released on DVD in Germany. Fuck, these bastards. Let's get to some more information from here. Where's my notes on here? But yeah, I mean, like I mean, what do you think about that, Alison? Really quick, like, do you like movies that you don't know where the creature has come from, it just appears? Or do you like to know, like, okay, this is from an outside space organization that dropped out this monster for killing the Earth purposes?
No. I don't mind having somebody telling me where the creature came from, but I feel like currently we're in an age of over explanation for things.
Yeah.
And like, we have to have an explanation for everything. We have to hear everybody's origin, where everybody came from, and why everybody's doing this, and why they're doing that, and why is this happening. I want to explain this. Some things just don't need to be explained. And like, I really didn't need to know where this creature came from. It's just a creature in the sand. That's all I need to know. That's not the point of this. But like, we're going through a thing, especially like in Star Wars, as you mentioned before. Star Wars right now is like Star Wars fans are destroying Star Wars because they want to know, where did this person come from? Where did Boba Fett come from? What was Boba Fett like as a baby? Blah, 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 blah. And all this shit like that. You don't need the shit explained. Just watch the movie and enjoy it for what it is. And that's one of the things I liked about this movie, was I was able to watch it and enjoy it for what it was. And I didn't have to have an explanation of where the creatures came from, or why they're there, or, what their home life was like, or what their upbringing was like as little baby monsters, or anything like that. I just got to enjoy these monsters like killing people. And that's all I wanted to see. That's what I need out of my horror movies.
There you go. Just watch it and be entertained.
Exactly. That's all. It's entertainment. Stop being a critic. Just watch the goddamn thing. I say that as a person who does a podcast about movie reviews, but still.
Well, thank you, Triple H. I appreciate it. All right. Thank you for your input. All right. So wrestling people get that joke.
Yeah.
All right. So we have.
Thank you for your input.
So, what's cool about this film, too, is we also talked about some of the actors, but let's talk about the one actress before we get into the full review. And that would
Brianna
be
Hill.
Well, yeah, she's one of them. Brianna Hill is one of them. We also have Pamela McMiller. All right. She played Mrs. Hench, and she was also in Halloween 2 as well. So,
oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. But
Mariana Hill was in Messiahs of Evil.
Yes. Which is a pretty sweet. She was mostly like a 70s actor.
Yeah.
Some of her stuff on there. But yeah, I mean, like pretty cool stuff. You know, obviously this movie didn't take a whole lot to make or produce. It got done pretty quickly, you know, compared to some other movies, especially movies we see nowadays. You know, obviously this would be considered a B movie. All right, even though it had pretty, like, you know, I wouldn't say that they're like A-listers actors, but I mean, to us they are. You know what I mean? Like John Saxon, I consider him an A-list actor, but I know he's mostly been in. Yeah, I know he's mostly been in, like, you know, really kind of low budget horror movies. You know what I mean? Like, you know, he's in. I think his biggest hit probably is Nightmare on Elm Street, I would guess. Like his most recognized long-term movie would probably be that one. I mean, I liked him. I liked him when he was in Black Christmas. That's one of my favorite movies that he did. But it's really interesting. I'm not exactly sure what movie he's kind of known for, but I know the most famous one he did probably was Nightmare on Elm Street. So just because that movie has lived on for ages and ages. So
yes.
But everybody, I say let's start off this May, my birthday month, hot. This fan review hot. Let's get into the full review of the Blood Beach.
Blood Beach.
Let's do it.
Pretty, isn't it? The beaches of L.A., playground of America. Until this beach turned into a living nightmare.
You said creature. Why did you use that word?
I don't know. What would you call it?
Blood Beach, man.
Yeah, right on.
Blood Beach.
The beach is a weird beat for us cops. You've got the kids, the old people, the street fiddlers, those singles, the crazies, all lost in their own world. There was every form of human life on this beach.
Mattress Bermudas, dating mattress. They were kind of old, but they were his favorite pair. They were still in good condition.
But under the beach, there was this horrible thing. And we still haven't figured it out.
What the hell are we looking for? I don't know. But maybe if we dig deep enough, we'll find out.
We police always look for the obvious, but this wasn't normal. Nah, not even for California.
Doctors figure that there's been considerable brain damage.
How considerable?
Vegetable soup. When something like this is chasing you.
If it's human, or even if it's animal, it's got to have a place to go back to. It's kind of sad the way things have changed, huh, Mr. Sullivan?
If there was any hope, we didn't have it. We didn't know a damn thing.
Just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, you can't get to it.
There comes a time when you throw out all the rules and you make your move. Blood Beach is an okay place to visit, but I wouldn't want to die there. Blood Beach.
David Huffman, Mariana Hill, John Saxon, and Burt Young as Lieutenant Boyko. Blood Beach, where the water may be the safest place to be.
All right. So we start off on a beach. Kind of weird. I didn't think a movie with Blood Beach would have a beach, but I guess it does.
No way.
It's weird. Well, we also see underneath a, what do you call this place? I guess it was an old abandoned carnival place. They had a merry-go-round there.
Yeah, it's like an abandoned amusement park.
Yeah, right underneath it. All right. So then after we get those scenes, we also get the title Blood Beach. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty cool little title.
Right
there.
across the, yeah.
Right across the deal.
I like the red.
Yeah. Cool stuff. How do you think they made that? Photoshop? I don't know. Add that right in there. So now we have Harry talking with Ruth, his neighbor. All right. Apparently Ruth said Harry is the only man who's willing to work. And she also said that Harry is the only man she knows that could swim back home. Are you a big swimmer there, Alison? Can you swim back home?
No, I can barely swim at all.
Oh, okay, well, you gotta get yourself
I like
out
to swim, but I'm not good at swimming. I'm not real good at it.
So while this is happening, while Harry is swimming, now Ruth is walking on the beach with her dog, Piper. All right? And this is our first scene of her getting sucked down into the beach layer doom. All right? So there she goes. The dog's barking. She's asking for help.
I don't know how they did this effect in the sand on a budget that small. Like how they pulled somebody into the sand like that.
Maybe they dug like a hole, like in the beach, and then they just brought him down slowly. Something I could think of.
Maybe, yeah.
So now we see this homeless lady. Okay. She's watching this dude play the saxophone. All right. Mrs. Hench was her name. I just called her the homeless lady, but it's Mrs. Hench.
Yeah.
All right. And so now this is when we see all of our coppers. Okay. We have Harry, which I guess Harry's more like a beach patrol. He's like the beach, lifeguard copper. And then we have the main two detectives, which are Lieutenant Panitsky, and we have what's his name's character? We have Burt Young's character, Sergeant Rocco. Okay. Now we're in Southern California, and for sure, Sergeant Rocco sounds like he's from New York, even though he claims he's from Chicago. All right. And I thought the other ones sounded like they were from New York too. So I was like, is there some big New York contingent over here in California?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of New York actors. I mean, I think John Saxon's a New York actor. And, so there's a lot of people from New York in this movie. But, yeah.
So they're all asking, like, hey, what could have happened to this Ruth? And what could it be? And they're all outside of the Moose Burger Joint. All right?
Mm-hmm.
You ever visited Moose Burger Joint there in California there, Alison?
Nope, it's probably not still there. But I have been to Venice Beach where this film was filmed. Still looks about the same as it does now.
Yeah, there you go. Can't beat that. So they all talk about that. Ruth, what's going on with her? Harry knew Ruth for a long time, and he even revealed that he knew her so long that he was about to marry her daughter. All right, and of course, while this all happens, now we have a scene of Harry and Kat meeting up with each other. So Kat is Ruth's daughter, who's come from San Francisco to go see what's happened to her mom because her mom's missing. And of course, she runs into Harry, her old squeeze. All right. So they're talking on the pier. All right. He's talking about how he likes her painting. Everybody's a painter in horror movies. You notice that?
Lots of painters, yeah.
I mean, fuck. Painters, piano. Can everybody have a regular job? Like, oh yeah, I deliver toilets to people. All right. All right. So they, how you never know, maybe. All right. And Harry basically tells her, like, you know, what he heard that day. He just heard the dog screaming like crazy. Piper was screaming like crazy. But when he went there, he couldn't find Ruth at all. She was vanished. She was gone. All right. But he also noticed too, like the dog, when he took the dog Piper away, he noticed that the dog didn't want to leave. He didn't want to leave the area. Obviously because Piper, the dog, probably smelt Ruth from underneath the sand. All right. So now Kat, you know, says she's also going to be staying here for as long as she needs to find her mom, which she kind of got sidetracked on. So Harry said, you know, he also warns her, like, hey, she might be dead. You got to be, you know, realizing that, you know, that could be a possibility.
Yeah. So
Kat runs into the homeless lady. All right. And of course, the homeless lady, like in every horror film, she knows what's going on. We've had this since 1980, Friday the 13th.
I was gonna say Friday.
All right.
I was gonna say Friday the 13th. The crazy guy in the woods saying you're all gonna die.
She says the police doesn't know what they're doing for their job. Your mom was, she was taken 6 feet under the earth. She will not be seen again. All right. You got to find her. You got to find her. She starts rambling off, and then somebody says, "Get out of here, you old hag." All right, so now we get more shots from under the pier. All right, we have the basically this girl wasn't really like named, and I try to look for her name on the intranet, and apparently Harry's girlfriend. All right, it wasn't Kat. He actually had a blonde hair British girlfriend. Her name in this movie was Girlfriend.
Yeah. How?
Yeah.
How creative.
First name girl, last name friend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, we're gonna cast you in this movie, but we're not even gonna give you a name. You just play a girlfriend.
So apparently she was some sort of flight attendant. All right, and let's just say she was a looker. She was a looker on the eyes. Our boy Harry was doing it. He was getting it done. All right. And she says, "I'll be gone." She has to go to London to Paris on this flight, but she says she'll be done. She'll be back, you know, sometime this week and stuff. All right. And then she asked, and I don't know if this is a pickup line. Maybe you could tell me, Alison. She asked, "Hey, did you fix your clock yet?" And at first, Harry was like, "What?" I thought Harry couldn't understand her accent. I was like, "Oh, we're going there? I mean, come on, brother. I can understand her." And it was like, "Oh, yeah, I fixed that." And then next scene, we get him in the bedroom.
Yeah. Now he's fixing her clock.
Does that work?
I guess so.
Okay, I'm gonna try that one.
I think that probably works. Yeah.
Like, hey, baby.
I mean, honestly.
Hey, baby, my clock is fixed.
Yeah, but she asked him though.
I know.
How? Fixed her. So I think it worked mostly because pretty much anything she said to him would have worked. So
now did he have like a dick problem that we don't know about?
And that's what she means by clock.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe. Possibly.
If y'all know the dick clock, y'all could say something below on the YouTubes.
Yeah. Maybe. Well, they made medicine for the dick clock now.
That's true. That's apparently. True. They do. You think they had that back then? Viagra was going back then, right? We had the cocaine. Cocaine. That would probably help.
They had cocaine, so I don't know if that helped or not. It's not my thing.
Anyway, she's starting to get undressed. We didn't see no titty, which sucks. But she started to get undressed and stuff. But now Piper gets loose. All right. So while Piper is getting loose and Kat wakes up to try to look for the dog, our boy Harry is doing his namesake. He's getting some Harry, if you know what I mean.
He is.
All right. So now Kat eventually goes onto the beach. She finds Piper, and we see that Piper has now been eaten by the sand dune worm. His head has at least been. Okay.
Sad.
So now they all meet with the cops. Okay. This is when we first get the doctor, Dr. Demetrius. Who I wish I brought my glasses over here. I could have done this guy. He's like, Well, I don't actually have a diagnosis for this. If you want my professional opinion, it looks like it was a very large man with a big hand and fingernails, and he looks like he smashed the dog into pieces. Did I do that? Yeah, I did it kind of right. You know what I mean?
That's exactly the way.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So you could definitely play him in a remake of this, because that's exactly what he sounded like.
And then the Roki or whatever, Chicago man was like, he leaves something else. He's trying to make jokes and everything. And then the other lieutenant tells him to hit the brakes because he's making all these jokes. Okay? Because, they also couldn't find no flesh and they couldn't find no nails on this either. So they don't know what the hell the thing happened. Now Harry asks the other cop, the lieutenant, Panitsky, what's going to happen. I might be fucking up his name, by the way, because I do that here and there.
You do that. Yeah, that's part of the show.
All right. What's his name then, Alison? What's his name?
The name of who?
The lieutenant, the black one.
Oh, that guy is. We need to talk about him. We didn't. We forgot to mention him. His name is.
It's like Panitsky or something.
Yeah, it's Pianta Dosi or something like that.
Pinta Dosi. That's a weird name.
Yeah, it is a really weird name for him to have. He's played by Otis Young, though, who I know from a movie called The Capture of Bigfoot.
Yeah. Imagine going from Capture to Bigfoot to Blood Beach. There you go.
Yeah. So yeah.
All right. Well, anyway. So they're asking what to do next, and they basically just don't have any idea what to do next yet. So now we have Harry and Kat. They're going on for a boat ride. And this is when our boy Harry starts shaming her a little bit.
Yeah.
He's all like, hey, remember this boat? Yeah. The last time we were on this boat, it was 7 years ago. I was out of the Navy. And this is where I proposed to you, and you wouldn't say anything. So I just drove off until you told me to stop. Like a creeper. All right? Remember all that? Remember those bad memories? All right? So I put my notes. We finally get a proper beach scene now. So there's actually people on the beach. All right. And this is when we have some 16-year-old Beverly Hills girl being buried in the sand. All right. And then she starts to freak out because she said her legs are bitten. They pull her out. We see a green hand very quickly. That has nothing to do with later on creature. And then we get, basically we get her with her legs all bloody. Okay. So now he has finally arrived. We have finally got John Saxon on our screen to bless us with his greatness. He is playing Captain Pearson, and Pearson's freaking out. He tells us the whole plot. He said there was an older lady, a native over here that got missing. There's a dog that got his head chopped off. There's a 16-year-old Beverly Hills girl. That town's freaking out now. And I even got a letter. I even got a letter from the animal rescue group telling me we got to find this crazy murderer that's killing dogs. All right, I got everybody up my ass.
Yes,
all right?
Up my ass.
And y'all need to figure it out. And then, of course, Chicago is like, well, this wouldn't happen in Chicago. And then Saxon's character is all like, I'll send your ass back to Chicago then. All right?
Yeah, Saxon's already tired of him talking about Chicago.
I did like it, though, when Pearson was talking about, like, the animals. He's all like, yeah, I understand. I got 2 dogs myself.
Yes. I can relate.
All right. So now their plan is to dig up the beach to try to find the creature underneath the beach sand. All right. So Roki, he doesn't like this. He's talking to Lieutenant, and he's all like, we're just wasting our time over here.
Yeah.
For murders like this, we really should be looking for? All right. We really should be looking for a Nazi cooler hideout.
Because I'm not sure how they jumped to that, but yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where all the murderers are. Duh.
Yeah, right.
So the lieutenant cop laughs. We're just calling him Lieutenant P, because I ain't saying his fucking name. All right, so now Harry goes out of his house. He runs into Cat again. All right, he couldn't sleep last night, but he's going to go for a nice little swim. So I get, there's not too much to do for a drinking game on this one, But if I say Harry gets out of his house, goes for a swim, you could take a drink. All right. All right. All right. So she. So now. So now Kat runs into the homeless lady again. They both look at each other weird. So now we have this reporter interviewing a bunch of kids on the beach, saying like, "Hey, you kids are on this beach right now. Don't you know, like last week or whatever, this one of your peers, girls, got like bitten and eaten and stuff." And they're like, "Yeah, we don't really care. It's a dangerous beach and everything, but that's the thrill of it. So that's why we're here." All right. We're not afraid of this beach. It's still the best beach there is. And then they start talking about this creature. And then the news reporter is saying, "Well, why are you bringing up a creature?" And they're like, well, we don't know. That's just something that, we thought up in our head and it kind of stuck.
Right.
All right. So now Harry and his, I guess, worker who does like the night shifts and stuff, which would be, I called him Boogeyman because he liked the boogie. All right.
Oh, right. Of course. Yeah.
Yeah. The Boogeyman guy. His name was Hoagie. Okay. So Hoagie, they're basically talking about that Harry suggests that Hoagie, because Hoagie uses he works the night shift. So Harry got it approved that he could bring a pistol on him. And Hoagie's like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm kind of worried about this pistol. I kind of want to be left alone on the night shifts. And then Hoagie reveals that he hasn't slept for a whole week and he's been waiting to boogie.
Yes.
You ever done some boogie out there, Alison?
Always. I'm always up for boogieing.
That's some wild stuff right there.
It is.
So now, Catherine, which is Cat, walking around, she gets scared by another cat, which I thought was funny, because Cat being scared by a cat. All right.
Hilarious.
Yeah. All right, so now we see, I think it was Boogie, but I'm not actually sure, but basically there's a scene where this copper is kissing this girl, and she drives her bike down the bridge. All right, she goes down some steps, and now she's going onto the beach at nighttime all by herself. And she walks all the way to the bottom of the pier because she hears like a bird going crazy. Okay. And then she just randomly gets attacked by this like balding age guy. All right. Who's trying to attack her in the pier. And then she finally gets herself away. And then, Alison, your favorite scene of this was when the guy was crawling and the creature bit off his dick.
Yes. Any dick biting scenes are always my favorite.
So what a scene too. He was like crawling, right? He's like this,
yeah.
and then he stops. He's like, "Oh shit!" And then like he pulls over and his dick's all out there, and you can see like the little teeth for a second. I thought that was pretty funny.
This is one of those things where like this is a scene from like an early 80s movie that you couldn't probably do after like 85 or so. After 85, I feel like horror movies became a little bit too corny and cheesy, and it was made for people to go laugh at.
Yeah.
And, like,
well, this one's kind of funny.
Well, this was kind of funny in a lot of ways, and for a different kind of way. But yeah, this was. I think you feel like you couldn't do this later on in the 80s. But yeah, we still had our dick biting scenes at this point. So this is always good.
So now the coppers come, all right? And now, basically, the Lieutenant P doesn't want to tell Chicago, Rookie, what he really thinks is going on over here, because he thinks Chicago's going to say some smart-ass remark, all right? And then now, Chicago is trying to blame it all on this like guy that got his bit digging off. He's like, why are we trying to feel sorry for this creeper, all right?
Right.
Why are we holding back over here, the police force? So, Captain Pearson, Saxon, and Harry don't really have any ideas of really what's going on over here. They're kind of like both at a loss of what is happening here. Like they can't wrap their head around it possibly being a creature or not.
Right.
And then, of course, Pierce is like, this is a mess. Why this had to happen to me? It's not safe to go into the water. Maybe this creature was working with Jaws. Like a team.
Maybe. It was like you scare them on the beach and then they run into the water and then Jaws eats them.
Well, it's kind of like Godzilla. You know what I mean?
How is it kind of like Godzilla?
Well, Godzilla, didn't he have a teammate for a little bit? Like, didn't he team up with the King Kong or something?
Well, no, he fought King Kong.
Yeah, I thought. Well, didn't he team up with anybody? I swear he teamed up with somebody before.
No, he did. Like, he teamed up with a bunch of monsters to fight other monsters. Yeah, so
what's the problem? If King Kong could do it, why can't Jaws and our creature do it?
Yeah, this unnamed creature that's apparently an alien.
So I thought this part was really quick, but it was really funny. These kids run up to the Chicago cop, Rocky, and give him the guy's wiener, and then they leave.
I saw that too. They just threw his dick at Chicago.
Yeah, they come up, they run up to him, and they give it to him. He grabs it, and he's like, "That's his wiener," and they run off. So now we have Dr. Demetrius talking to Saxon and the Lieutenant P about the creatures, if I may. Well, we think this doctor. We think this creature is obviously in dark, smoky places. He might one day actually come out into the light, and we believe that he might walk among us in the living. All right, and of course, Pearson says to this guy is like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Okay, all right, this hocus pocus mumbo jumbo seems like a whisker on a sausage.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. Well, doesn't he say it's about as useful as a whisker on a sausage or something like that?
Yeah, it's as useful as a whisker on a sausage.
Which I'm not really sure what the hell that means, other than I wouldn't want a whisker on my sausage.
Yeah, exactly.
So that would not be useful to me.
Yes, exactly.
But I don't really know where the fuck that came from or what that even fucking means.
And then, of course, the doctor's like, mumbo jumbo? Okay. So now we see Boogie. All right. He's talking to Harry now. And Boogie was talking to Harry's girlfriend on the phone, saying like, "Hey, I'm the guy you spilled the drink on." And then he gives the phone over to Harry. And the girlfriend says she's about to come home a little early and she should be home tonight so they can make plans at 7 o'clock. Right when he hangs up, Kat walks in. Harry's like, "Oh, I didn't realize you're still here. I thought you left after the dick biting." All right, but apparently she didn't.
No, she didn't. She hung around.
I was just thinking, Harry, why did you think she left? She didn't find her fucking mom yet. Huh?
Right.
She didn't do anything yet. She just walked around and talked to a homeless lady. All right. So now Kat's like, "Hey, maybe we should have dinner tonight." He's like, "Well, I kind of made plans already." But then he says like, "Maybe tomorrow we can make plans or something." Okay. Oh, and by the way, when they're talking in this scene, Alison, this happened twice in the movie. Okay. Did you see the boom mic, like hanging down?
Yeah.
All right,
sometimes you can't. Sometimes you just can't afford to reshoot.
Yeah. Fuck it. It's too good of a scene, brother. One take.
Yeah. One take it. I also wonder though if maybe they fucked with the aspect ratio, and because I don't know if you know this, but I found this out when I was a projectionist for a bunch of years. So if you don't frame your movie right when you're actually projecting with a film projector, sometimes you can see all kinds of things that aren't intended to be in frame.
Yeah.
That are actually there. So I'm wondering if maybe when they were just mastering this for Blu-ray or DVD or whatever the fuck they put this out on, that they just fucked up the aspect ratio, and that's why you could see the boom mics.
Yeah.
Because they should have been framed out, but maybe they weren't. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah.
But other than that, it could have just been like, we don't have the money to reshoot it, so good enough.
Yeah. So now Boogie, after Kat leaves, Boogie's like, "Oh, you never got over her, did you?" All right, she's just waiting for her mommy to come back home, but she's setting herself up for failure. It's like, damn, Boogie, got serious there. So now Harry's making dinner to some love-making jazz music, which is the only way to make dinner. All right. Harry's girlfriend, the British lady, has now come home. And it's windy outside. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So her hat blows off. She goes and chases her hat to the beach. And right when she grabs her hat, she gets sinked into the beach sand.
Mm-hmm.
So there goes the hot British lady girlfriend.
Girlfriend.
All right. And also, too, is weird because when she got pulled down, we also saw some quick footage of her body being bloody and the monster's green hand that doesn't come up later. Yeah.
True.
So now, I guess we meet Kat and Harry now meet up. They're eating and stuff. He was saying that his girlfriend, this happens to him all the time. He gets stood up by his girlfriend all the time because since his girlfriend works as a air stewardess, she gets delayed a lot. So he gets stood up a lot. All right. And Alison, I'm not sure what was on their table, but it looked like a huge piece of sausage.
Yeah, the one that doesn't have a whisker.
Yeah, the whisker on it, yes, on the table. So then Kat tells her, oh, yeah, I'm not married anymore, by the way. And he's like, oh, sure, you're not married? He's like, yeah, I'm not married anymore. Me and him divorced. I never told my mother because I was embarrassed. I didn't know if my mother would think of me. She would think I'm just some sort of divorcee wife who can't get no husband and doesn't like any of that stuff. And Harry's like, I'm pretty sure your mom wouldn't care about that. It's like, well, I was just afraid to tell him because this is 1983. That's why.
Exactly.
All right. So now Harry says, hey, we could still do our scheduled date for tomorrow at 7. By the way, you haven't been to my house in 7 years. Then they stare at each other. All right. You know what's going down.
Oh, I know.
You know what our boy Harry's looking for. He don't give a shit about this murderers. He wants a pussy.
Well, yeah, you gotta manage both things.
All right, so now Harry goes out to swim. All right, let me just take that off. All right. When he's going out to swim, he sees his girlfriend's car. He runs to it. He runs to the beach. He sees her hat. And now he starts freaking out because he knows his girlfriend has been sucked into the hole of beach dementia. So we have Roy Chicago. He arrives to the beach, all right, with Lieutenant P. He talks to Harry and says that they found anything like buried treasure because, you know, he's an asshole. He's making jokes. And, of course, Harry finds something, and it looked like a piece of skin or something. I couldn't tell what it was that he found him. The human. Did you know what that was, Alison?
No, I just thought it was just a body part or something, but no, I have no idea what he found.
All right, so now Saxon is getting it from the council. How'd you like this scene? Him just going off on the council.
This is the scene where he's basically complaining about how he doesn't have enough money to investigate these sand creatures. Yeah, and he's saying that the mayor. Let me see if I get this correct. He said the mayor basically campaigned on reducing the police force's money to get elected, and now she's complaining about him not having enough people to be able to investigate this, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So he's pissed off because she won election by promising to reduce their funding, but now they don't have the funding to be able to do this. Yeah.
And he did say, like, and she's like, you can't talk to me like that. I was like, yes, I am. All right. You suck ups and everything.
Yep.
You get what you paid for. All right.
Yep. Exactly.
And then he's like, tells everybody, let's leave before we get what they got. Oh, shit. And then, of course, Rourke talks about Chicago. I should have done a drinking game on him every time he talks about Chicago.
Every time he mentions how this wouldn't have happened in Chicago, we take a drink.
So now Harry,
well, you know why this wouldn't have happened in Chicago?
Well, there's no beaches there, unless maybe
there's
one.
Well, I was gonna say there's no ocean there, but technically there is a beach off of the lake. But that's beside the point. I'm sure if I'd said that, somebody in Chicago would have said, "But there's a beach." But and there is actually a beach there. But yes, it wouldn't have happened in Chicago because there's no ocean.
Yeah, and they would have just shot the thing. All right, so Harry's not sure what they're looking for, if it's real or unreal.
Yeah.
Phone rings. All right. We have the mic in the shot again. All right. It looked like a different mic this time, but it was like hanging right there in the shot.
A different kind of. You need different kinds of mics to record different kinds of shitty audio for your movie.
Yeah. Bro, this did have bad audio. I was like, oh
Yeah.
my God. So Harry said they have to be grounded. All right. They have to be grounded and they got to know what's reality and what's not reality. All right.
Okay.
So Kat suggests that this creature should still be at sea level.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And maybe to look at a place that maybe they haven't looked yet.
Yeah.
All right. And then Harry's in deep thought, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to get a drink later tonight at the Roadhouse?" And she's like, "Hell yeah, I will." Okay. So now Harry's walking on some wood. He goes under that merry-go-round house. He goes this hidden area behind the steps that we've later find out he knew as a kid. He goes down to this hidden area. We have some pop scares. He sees a wall with a cracked light on it. He gets freaked out and he leaves. Now we have a guy who's using a metal detector on the beach, who was wearing a very funny outfit that they actually describe later. Okay?
Yeah. I'm guessing that this is coming from a time when metal detectors on beaches were like a really popular thing and people just used them to find out what they could find.
Yeah, brother.
He finds the top of a can lid, I saw.
Yeah.
Partially.
You're trying to look for gold out there, brother.
I'm looking for gold.
So, of course, the creature gets him off camera. We don't have enough money for that one.
No.
So now the crew is at the Roadhouse bar. We hear musical performances. And then Harry and Kat, they're eating. They stare at each other to jazz music. And now they start making some jazz music love.
They do.
All night long. All right. Well, and we only get like a quick shot of them kissing for a second. Then we cut right back to Roki, Chicago. He talks to the wife of the metal detector guy is now in there. And he wants to know what he was wearing from head to toe. And they described what, brother, I was like,
everything he was wearing.
Is this a 2-hour movie? What's going on here? Okay. He had these shoes that he knew about. He had these socks that he didn't know about. He had a jewelry, like a ring that Chicago was wearing, but had a tiger's eye on it.
Yeah.
He had a blue-green shirt, and he had a great sense of humor. I don't know why.
How are they going to...
Why
they had to know if he had a great sense of humor.
I don't know why this scene was even on this movie, besides to get him some more screen time.
Well, they got to know what he looks like when they find his body.
Yeah.
But speaking of screen time, I don't know did you watch the version on Plex?
Yeah, but it had a lot of like commercials to it, which sucked.
Well, yeah, Plex has ads. It's like Tubi, but worse.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know if you noticed, but when it came on, it says extended unedited cut, and it's like 85 minutes long. So how short was the original version of this?
I don't know. Probably like
10 minutes. An hour. Yeah.
Maybe 10
Anyways,
minutes.
Yeah. So we saw the full version apparently. Anyway.
Well, that's why we got this
scene. Exactly, which included a description of this guy's clothes.
So we get more news reporters saying it's a great summer day, but this beach, endless nightmares of terror and death.
Blood Beach.
And of course, everybody else was like, well, fuck, brother, we're in. The beach wasn't cool before, we're going now. He said there is endless death and murder here. Let's go.
Let's go.
All right. And of course, they're calling it now the creature of Blood Beach. It's killing everybody. And of course, Pearson's talking about, they see him in all different areas. They describe it as a large green hairy monster, and a couple different styles of how they described it too. And some even call it the Hunchback of Notre Dame. All right. He says, so I actually got some good news. Pearson says that mayor lady has finally approved to get us some extra money for overtime to find this thing. And I don't care what you all have to do. Get stoned, talk to your wife and kids. I need anything. Find me anything. Okay? Just bring me back some news. So
Yes.
apparently in 1983, getting stoned, it was like, that's how you really get the job done.
Yes.
All
'Cause
right.
he even says that. He says, "Go get stoned. I don't care." Yeah.
So now we have a rookie. He's eating a moose burger. And the lady from the moose burger spot saying she had to take everything 50% off because they don't have any tourists coming to the beach anymore because everybody's scared of the creature ghost or the creature monster. All right.
The creature ghost. Yeah.
And okay, the only thing I had the problem with Chicago's character, like he would talk like super fast, so I couldn't like. If you're just watching him, it's fine, but if you're taking notes, it's a little tough to see everything he's saying to kind of get the gist of it. But the gist of it, he's just complaining about not being in Chicago. That's basically his character. Okay. So now he's talking about Chicago again. Okay. And he said they wouldn't have done this thing because in Chicago they would have had a slush fund to take care of stuff like this. They wouldn't be a cheap ass California liberals around there, brother. All right, they're gonna be Chicago's. They're gonna be
Chicago liberals.
Yeah, they'd be Chicago liberals taking care of it, brother. All right. So then they hear her screaming. All right, coming from the sewer, and the body pops out, and it's the body of the metal detector guy because Chicago recognized his shoes. All right. So now Pearson's getting interviewed. I could barely hear anything of this either because the audio was bad. But they basically want to know what's going on with this guy. And he says, well, he has brain damage, and that's all we know so far. So now Kat decides to go to the merry-go-round spot. All right? And this is when we have Boogie. Boogie, same thing. Sees the homeless girl go near that spot as well, too. And she gets out of the sand by going into a little hidden area. And Hoagie basically wants to take her out of there. Like he said, you can't be here right now. And then he tries to sweet talk her and for him to take her on a ride to go see the beach and everything. And while he's sweet talking her, that's when he gets sucked down into the sand beach doom. All right. And of course, she doesn't help her because she's scared, homeless lady. And he gets off. So now Harry meets with Lieutenant P. He wants to know some answers, and Lieutenant P wants to know some answers too because they're both stuck, and they just don't know what to do. They don't know what to research. They don't know what to find. He asks Harry, "Do you have anything at all that might help out this?" And then this is when Harry brings up the hidden place that he had as a kid, where he went to near the merry-go-rounds, where that hidden area that they had, and he said he found it as a kid. He used to go there as a kid a lot with Kat. All he found there was spider webs and bugs and shit, but he said he was scared. He said he was the most scared in his life when he was there.
Yeah, because it's terrifying underneath there.
Were you terrified underneath there, Alison?
No, but I was not terrified during any of this. But I did like it though.
You didn't like the well.
No, I did. I liked all of this movie. It wasn't scary. It's not as scary as The Entity.
Yeah.
As an example.
Oh, that's true. Imagine that. Imagine those two movies colliding. That'd be something. So Kat goes down to the basement. All right, we have the homeless lady in the building. I don't think we see her again after this. All right, so Kat's going down to the basement level. Harry and the cop go down to the basement level as well, too. She's walking around, and eventually she runs into her swinging dead mom's head. What do you think about that?
That was fantastic.
And all the body parts fall down and shit.
Yeah, it was like a what do you call that? It was like one of those scenes in a comedy movie where somebody knocks something over and then they back up and they run into something else and knock it over too. It was like that because then all the body parts fell. It was fantastic.
So then while this is all happening, we found all the dead bodies basically that the sand creature was taking. They all fall down in this area. And then Harry and Lieutenant P hear this. They come in, and then we get a cutscene where all of the police force is now at this one area. And of course, Pearson's all like, what the fuck? This place is supposed to be closed. All right? It's supposed to not be here.
Right.
It's supposed to be not available for the public. So how can a creature from the Black Lagoon come in here? We have no idea.
Exactly.
He's all freaking out about that. All right, and then he's all like, listen, I want you guys to wire this place within 1 hour. I want some cameras around here, and I want some explosives. All right, and then, of course, we have the doctor, if I may. Just pretend I got glasses on right here.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like this is where he was sleeping at, and he was hibernating for his whole time over here. It looks like he is going to go out into the world to see what he needs to do to vast himself and his creature habits. And of course, Pierce is like, "Shut this guy up! Get me some explosives and cameras." All right. I need this place wired in an hour. All right. So now Harry's hanging out with Kat.
Mm-hmm.
We get the news reporter saying that they found a bunch of murdered dead bodies in this abandoned area that nobody's supposed to go to.
Yeah, so they found all the bodies, right?
Yeah.
No, the missing people, yeah.
So now we have the whole camera crew. And there's jazz music going on during. I should have done this review, just play jazz music the whole time. That'd have been awesome.
That'd been fantastic.
Because there's all types of jazz music going on. And I thought the cool scene was actually the scene coming up here. Was they were playing jazz music, right? And this is when we have the cop Chicago Roy. He's like he seems like he's like in one of those like New York murder movies. We have the jazz music playing in the background. He's taking his hat off. He's looking. And he takes his hat back on. He goes back in. I like it.
Yes.
All right. So now, he basically goes into the trailer where they can see the footage, and he's there with the doctor. All right. All right. So now the doctor, all right, Demetrius, all right, explains what he thinks is going on over here.
Mm-hmm.
If I may. Well, you see, we have these creatures that live under God's green earth. And we don't know too much about these creatures. They can all be vast and different. But I will put this theory out here for everybody. If we blow this creature to smithereens, who says these smithereens won't come back and regenerate themselves to come back in multiple parts?
Yes.
Chicago's like, get this fucker
Fuck that.
Get this fucker out of here, brother. All right? In Chicago, we blow shit up.
Yes, we do.
All right? All right, so for some reason, this is like the big event around town. So there's people like partying out there waiting for this thing to blow up and shit. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Pearson's talking to Harry, and he's all like, men don't believe in monsters, do they? Harry's like, nah, okay. I don't think so. So now Harry is going to go meet with Roki.
Yeah.
All right, the Chicago. And he says, hey, it's quiet out here. Too quiet. All right?
Too quiet.
And then they get a call to come in. And they say, call the captain now. We have pictures and videos of the creature. He's out of his hiding place. So we see the creature. He basically looks like the thing from Star Wars. Because it kind of looks like the thing from Stranger Things, too. He's like very slimy with the big, head that has like all the fucking teeth on it. It looked pretty cool, actually. I thought it looked pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And Chicago's like, I'm going to go blow this thing up right now. He's like, no, don't do that. We call a captain. Call him right now. All right. And he walks out. Doctor's like, stop that man. Stop that man. And of course, Chicago don't give a shit. He just blows the fucking thing up.
Yep.
All his explosions.
Sets the detonator off.
All his explosions, all blowing up everything. For some reason, we get a bunch of white stuff over the screen. Was that supposed to be like the creature's like ashes or something, or his semen?
I'm pretty sure that was just a defect in the film. I noticed that too. You mean the scene where it shows the people on the beach?
Yeah, and there's like white shit over the screen.
Yeah, I'm guessing that was the best print of this they could find.
I think they did it on purpose to make it look.
So?
Yeah, to make it look like the creature's smithereens were going to be taken over. That's what I thought.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what happens, so that makes sense. But I would not have gotten that out of it.
Unless it's creature come.
Creature come. But so you're saying that it's like that was animated onto the film to show.
I thought it was
the remains of the creatures falling into the sand.
Yes.
All right. Well, maybe I think it's a defect.
It's 1983, brother. Maybe. We got to be creative. All right. So now we have people on the beach. Harry is now waiting for Kat, like he always does.
Yeah.
Says he will take her home. He takes her home. And then we get this long scene of the credits where we had the kids. A kid is digging on the beach. His name is Sean.
Mm-hmm.
Mom or sister, whatever it was, asked the kid if he wants a sandwich. He's gone because he's been taken by the sand creature's sperm. Then we have a guy kissing on top of a girl on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And then we keep seeing the creature's holes appear.
Yeah.
All right. We have a kid's creature near the sand castle he did. We have the dune hole appears. We have kids playing with the sand hole dune. We have a guy's hand that's close to the sand hole dune. And we have people playing doing yoga on the beach near the sand hole dune's creatures come.
So is it did they do that effect where it's showing the holes appearing? Is that animation? Did they animate that on the top of the film?
I don't think so. I thought they probably just used some like device that would sink holes maybe. I mean, they might have animated. I'm not really sure how they did that, especially in 1983.
Yeah, like I don't know how they made that look.
Most stuff is practical, so they probably did a machine that can like sink in the hole.
Maybe. Yeah,
but everybody,
it was a good effect though.
That ends our review for Blood Beach.
Our blue. You beach.
I've still got got the creatures come in my brain.
You do.
You know what I mean?
You do.
Making little creature babies. So now there's more than just one. So I can't wait. I can't wait for the sequel to come out after I get out of the movie theater, Allison. Where's Blood Beach 2?
When are we gonna get Blood Beach 2, man? We gotta make Blood Beach 2.
I had a great title for Blood Beach 2. Blood Beach 2, Rise of the Tides.
See, that's perfect. Well, why was that not done? We need to make that. I mean, we live in the mountains, so it'd be kind of hard for us to make a beach movie around here.
Well, we can drive 9 hours, then we can go make one.
We could drive 9 hours. We could also film it at a lake and pretend it's a beach.
There you go. That's all you need. I would love to do this movie part 2.
Yes.
I would either play the Doctor or John Saxon's character. Of course, if I did John Saxon's character, I would get myself tan, oiled up, and shaved. If I did the Doctor, I'd just look like this.
Right.
With glasses on and a suit.
I think you'd be perfect as the Doctor.
See, I told you all fuckers that this thing, if you blew it up in smithereens, it would come back and harm you. And guess what? It did.
It did.
So how about you suck my Dr. cock? Thank you. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
That's what he was saying.
That's gotta be a scene in Blood Beach 2: Rise of the
Tides. Exactly. Fucking great. I like this movie. So great. Thanks, Todd, for the recommendation. Like I said, everybody, if you all want to recommend more movies to us, retroblood69@gmail.com. If you want to tell us why you want to recommend them, I'll read that on the air. If not, just tell me the movie and your name, and I'll shout you out on the air as well, too.
Yeah.
So we appreciate it. But this month is not ending, brother. We're just getting started with the blood movies. Okay?
Yeah.
Because for this month, all right, we got a couple more fun stuff happening. And I tried to make this movie more, I tried to make these blood movies more surrounded by lakes and beaches and water. But there is going to be one that's not really related to that. We'll probably do that one at the end. So the rest of the movies we're going to be talking about for the rest of this month, we're going to come back next week here on the Retro Blood, and we're going to talk about Blood Tide.
Yeah. This is one I've wanted to do for a while.
The Tide of Blood, brother.
The Tide of Blood.
Then we're going to
Blood Beach. Now we have Blood Tide.
Then we're going to come back with Blood Lake.
Blood Lake. So first
we can do that one.
Beach, and then the Blood Tide came, and now it's Blood Lake.
So now, that's our water surrounded blood movies. But I had to do this one. I had to add this one because I've been waiting to do this movie for a long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
Blood Diner.
Yeah. We've been talking about this for a while.
is going to be the end of my picks for May month. And I cannot wait to do that one. But I think we got some fun ones over here. It's going to be a pretty fun month. All right?
It's going to be a good month.
So everybody check us out every Sunday. Unless something happens with YouTube, doesn't want to upload my shit. But we'll still be on podcasts every Sunday. Check us out on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you get your podcasts from. We'll be on there talking some 1980s horror movies, some pro wrestling, some metal, some John Saxon without a shirt on. All right, some blood, some lakes, everything. Like I said, this is a fan pick review, so we appreciate it. If y'all want to send more, retroblood69@gmail.com. Let us know which ones you want us to watch, review, talk about. You can even give us a note of why you like the movie. We'll read that on air. I don't care. Check us out on YouTube, like and subscribe. Pretty soon we'll be adding some more content on here. Maybe some shorts, some short reviews we can add on. We're going to do some lights outs on here too, so we'll be adding more content as we can. But yeah, should be a very fun month. I'm pretty excited. So we'll see how it goes.
This will be great. I'm looking forward to all these movies, and I think you made some good picks, so it's going to be good.
Should be pretty fun. Oh, and also, too, if y'all are wondering where to find these movies, most of these movies that I mentioned, they should all be on Tubi. So if y'all want to watch them, they should all pretty much be on Tubi. All right?
Tubi is a great resource for movies.
Really good.
They have a lot of, you have to watch ads, but it is free.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of really good movies that are ignored by other streaming services.
Yeah,
so
very rare ones too. And they also have a really cool list of Italian movies too, which is pretty fun.
Absolutely.
But Alison, I guess we'll just have to play that song that we talked about.
Bad Reputation.
From Bad Reputation. We'll play it right now, brother, for the podcast listeners. Because, Retro Blood has a bad reputation of being too awesome over here, brother. Rocking out punk rockers over here. Talk about 80s movies.
That's our bad reputation.
We got that going on. But everybody, thanks for joining us. J.H. Alison, James Kline. We will see you here next week for the Blood Tide.
See you guys.